Oh, we can see Matt's hand.
And welcome to episode 5 of the podcast. We've had a bit of a break for this past month, mainly because the weather has been absolutely terrible and no one has wanted to sit in a room sweltering for 2 hours. Have you guys been putting up with that, Matt and Mark? Or should I say you haven't been putting up with it? It's been really terrible, hasn't it?
That's better. I think that's a better way of putting it. I haven't been coping at all well.
It's been horrible. I know you've been talking about some shooting game you picked up recently.
Next Machina. It's all right. It's a difficult one. So some parts of it I think are like amazing, like really good, but other parts really annoy me. So I find it a bit frustrating to play sometimes. So I don't know.
What are the annoying bits? Because I picked it up as well, but only yesterday, and I'm not sure I've been annoyed by it just yet.
Yeah, I guess it's just the type of game it is. It's just a bit different. Like, I guess when you play like a K bullet hell game, a really really good one, when you die, it always feels like it's your fault, and that's a really important thing, I think. And this one, because there's just so much more going on. It's harder to see everything, and it's sometimes when you die, you just think, well, I didn't see what that was, and it just annoys me a bit.
Yeah, no, I get that actually, because I think that's probably the biggest problem, is that there's so much going on in terms of explosions and colours and baddies.
Yeah.
And one touch and you're dead. Yep. Especially as you can dash to get through things. The thing that I'd struggled with the most is that one of the power-ups is a dash explosion.
Yeah.
So at the end of the dash you do a little explosion, but what I can't figure out is, does that mean I'm invincible for a second when it explodes, or do I need to explode near people rather than on them?
No, you can explode on them, but I think if you don't kill them, then there might be problems. I'm not sure. Because you can do just one of the other special powers is one of the rockets and stuff like that. There's a special power like a shield thing. So you press that and it does like a dome shield over you and it kills stuff. You can dash, explode into something and then fire a dome shield. So there must be like a little bit of invincibility to let you fire that shield off.
Okay.
So can I just cut in and ask if you can explain what kind of game is this exactly, just for those who might not be familiar with it, because I certainly wasn't until you mentioned it a couple of days ago.
It's a twin stick shooter. It's by the people who did Resogun. It's not like, see, Resogun's like more like Defender, like left right sort of scrolling. This is like twin stick, so all directions scrolling, but it shares quite a bit of stuff in common with Resogun. Like you have to save the humans, and how the enemies come out in a pattern. There's a line they're going to follow, stuff like that.
Isn't it by the guy that did Defender as well? Oh no, sorry, not by, but he was, wasn't he on as a consultant? I was reading a thing.
Eugene Jarvis. Did he do Defender?
Yes.
Robotron and stuff. Okay, did he do Defender as well? Cool.
Well, let's hope no one's using this for facts, but I think he did, because he did Defender. Yeah, probably should have done, actually. He did Defender. Let's assume he did it.
You're just making it sound like idiots now, Matt. You're just making it sound like idiot.
So let's pretend he did Defender. He also did, I think Smash TV.
Right.
And then he was a consultant on this, and I think that you can definitely see that. It's kind of like there's a lot of Smash TV in this, I think. In a twin stick shooter, a lot of Smash TV, but you drop some, certainly in the arcade mode. Oh no, or is it arena mode? They drop little prizes you have to go and collect, and you get coins.
Alright, yeah, I didn't really know what they were, those coins. Yeah.
They just give you points to change your hat, change your outfit. Because what's weird as well is that you're a weird biker dude. And only in the first level, I mean, I've only seen the first 2 levels so far, but there's a little third person section, only for a few seconds, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is always the level before the boss. Goes a little bit. It's only a really short level, and just the one before the boss. I'm not sure why it's done like that. But,
stylistic.
And like you say, it's a bike. He comes in on the bike on the first level, and you never see the bike again, do you?
Yeah. Where is his bike?
I don't know.
Just chucks it away,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. There's an 80s vibe to it, definitely, like with the soundtrack as well. It's like really like synth heavy and awesome.
That's
Yeah.
the thing now, though, isn't it? What game doesn't have an 80s synth score? Seems to me that's it's all very retro at the moment with TV and games.
Yeah, it does. It works for this, I think, because this style of game is quite an old style game. It's a score attack shooting game, but there's quite a lot of tactics to it. You know, learning enemy patterns and where they come from.
Yeah.
Chaining the humans. You need to chain the humans.
That's really difficult chaining humans, I think, because there's just, if you want to chain them, there's only so many on a level, so you actually have to, I don't know, I'm not very good at it, so I'm not entirely sure on this, but I think you probably have to learn a lot of where the enemies are and how to kill them quickly, so you've got enough, humans to cover the amount of time the level takes. So if you don't know where everything is, you're going to struggle to do it, so I'm not sure I can be bothered learning all that. So
but is that just points for collecting humans, or do you get a bonus for other stuff while you're chaining the humans?
It seems to be big on the end level bonus to humans. I saw like a high score in replay of the first level, and the chaining the humans. Then at the end level bonus, I don't get much end level bonus, but this guy got loads. So I think that's down to the chaining the humans. So I don't know exactly how it works, but it's some sort of multiplier at the end of the end. Once you finish the level, it's some sort of helps with your multiplier for the end level bonus.
They could do with explaining some of that stuff, really. I get that a lot of fun of games is figuring things out and things, but I sort of get to the point and I go, okay, my high score is 2 million, top of the leaderboard is 48 million. Something, I mean, that's not just being better at the game, there's some other stuff that probably obviously is being better at the game, a lot better. They're doing some different stuff than I am, clearly, and because I don't understand the mechanics, I don't really know what I'm doing differently, so I have to go and watch a video.
Yeah.
So why not just put even a page of text I can just read, and then I'll figure it out that way.
Yeah. They on Resogun they did put out like PDF, I think, on the internet, just showing you some of the scoring stuff. I don't know if they've done the same for this one, but yeah, it'd be good if
I'll have to check. It'd be interesting to see how Matterfall is different, because that's out in a month and a half, I think, which is their next game.
That's like Contra, isn't it? So I guess it's different style again.
I guess so, but again, it looks like it's a bit shooty, stuff blown up all over the place.
Yeah.
This is kind of like Next Machine is kind of like a top-down Resogun.
Yeah.
So what will this one be like? Yeah, that's good. I mean, they're definitely becoming the sort of creating a name for themselves in these shooters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, they've done two that are very good, but it's good. It's a good start. I've been playing Dead by Daylight.
So,
which is oh, sorry.
No, I joined you for a let's play, share play, I should say. Tell us about this one, because again, for me, this slipped under the radar, but it immediately put me in mind of another game that we'll talk about as we go on. But yeah, tell us.
So it's an asymmetrical horror survival game, and it's a multiplayer game. So this game came out called Friday the 13th, and the idea of that is that there are 7 survivors, and Jason from the horror films, Jason films, and he has to kill them all, and they have to escape. And I was like, "Oh, that sounds really good." And it's at the moment that's on PC and it's download only on PlayStation, and it's £30. And I was like, "Oh, it's quite a lot of money. I'm not sure if I really like it and if it's going to have the longevity." And then this Dead by Daylight comes out, and it's very, very similar. So you've got 4 survivors this time, and the killer is sort of a generic selection of baddies. So you can choose one of those to be, and you've just got to kill the survivors, and the survivors have to start these generators and then escape the level, basically. And I had a quick play of it when I got it on Friday, and was almost immediately bored. So as a survivor, you're running around and you can hear a heartbeat when the killer's near you, which is a little bit scary. And if he hits you, you sort of start limping, although you don't lose any speed, but it's like a damaged state. If he hits you again, you go down on the floor, and at that point you need to be healed by one of your mates, or he can pick you up and he puts you on a hook. Why he puts you on a hook is because all the survivors have been summoned to this sort of like purgatory kind of state, and this killer's job is to sacrifice the survivors from this place they've been summoned to.
I like that it's his job, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I assume it's his job. I don't think he's doing it for fun or what. I think he's in some sort of employment with this creature called the Entity, who, when you're on the hooks, it sort of spawns and stabs you in the face, and then sucks you away somewhere to where the Entity lives. Which that's sort of all I know of the plot.
So you're a paid employed serial killer.
Yes, I assume so. Assume he's paid. I mean, none of this is explained in the game. You have to read it all. So, like, there's no tutorial, but there's pages and pages of explanation. It's in really small. Exactly. It's in really small text, and it tells you about the Entity. And all you really need to know. I mean, they could have done a little video of like these survivors running along, and they all get fall down a big hole. Why they've been summoned to this place? I think it would be better if there was just a killer out to kill them. Just like going about the business. But whatever. And so you run around as a survivor, and there's a few bits that you can pick up. So like you can pick up a first aid kit to help heal yourself or heal others, which is you can go into the level with, or you can pick it up in the way. And you have to find these generators. And when you get to the generator, all you do is you hold down R1, and he starts fixing it. And that's it. And it takes ages. And every so often you get a little skill game that pops up, and you have to press L1 and stop the bar in the circle. It sort of spins around a circle, and you have to stop it in the right place. If you do that, then you just carry on. And if you get it like really spot on right, you get a little bonus. And if you get it wrong, it makes a big buzzing noise. You lose your progress, or some of your progress, and the killer is alerted to where you are.
Yeah, it looked really tedious from what I was seeing, it was clear that you were bored playing it, but I mean, tell us how that turned around, because you did end up deciding, because the problem is it's I think it doesn't work similarly to Friday the 13th, does it? Friday the 13th randomizes who the killer is going to be, whereas this one you can have some control over it. Yeah,
you select if you want to play as killer or survivor, basically, going in. And if you're with friends, you can either do a private game, in which case you would need 5 of you, or you can be survivors. So I started playing with a friend as survivors, and that was a bit better, because you're sort of, where's the killer? Can't see where he is. And if you get killed immediately, you're basically sitting out and watching for the rest of the game, which is a bit of a shame. Once the killer's chasing you, it's really annoying because the killer's faster. So as long as he doesn't lose you, he will catch you and hurt you. And so that's a bit annoying. So you need to sort of work together and try and lure him different ways. You can throw down things as obstacles in the way to try and slow him down.
Yeah, but that's where they've... whether or not it works, that's where they've tried to balance it, because the killer's quick. He doesn't need to take too many swings to essentially knock you out so that he can pick you up and have his way with you. They tried to balance that by adding obstacles to the killer. So I mean, if you're running away from him, if you're a survivor, you can try and block his path by throwing pallets in his way, which he has to break. But in order to break those, he's going to have to kick them, which takes a little bit of time. Similarly, if he does get to strike you, if he lands a blow, and this is something that I'm not sure if I like or not, but when he lands the blow, he then gives you the survivor a chance to escape, because he ends up wiping the blood off his arm with his instrument of torture or whatever he's carrying. And so there seems to be they've added little ways of trying to slow down the killer, because they realize he's quite overpowered.
And that's well, so I guess that leads into the next bit about how the game got a bit more enjoyable, which was actually being the killer. So being the killer is much more fun, because you've got clues where the survivors are, because they're setting off traps or different things, or you might just see them moving in the bushes. And once you hit them with something, you can see like blood stains, and if they've been sprinting, you can see little trails they've left. So you can hunt them down a bit more, which is pretty good actually. It is a bit disorientating because it's very, very like light and floaty handling and looking around and stuff. And it's just more fun running around sort of trying to kill these people and putting them on the hooks and things, really. But I guess the problem is that once you've got them on a hook, they can be let off the hook by any of their friends. And once their friend starts doing that, they're locked in the animation. So if you hit them, it doesn't do anything. You need to almost wait till they're finished, then hit them. But of course, you hit one, and then you go through this cleaning your tool of destruction animation, and the other one gets away. So it's a bit frustrating. And similarly, if you get to any obstacles that they vault over, you've got to climb over them, and it takes you longer to do, and you lose them that way. And they've balanced it that way by you, I think, you being fast, but having these really slow bits, because all the maps are really, really open.
But they've also added in a first-person mode, which only applies to the killer's perspective.
Yeah, so the killer's in first person, and the survivors are in third person, so they get a bit more of a peripheral vision to try and see where he is and what he's up to and stuff like that, really. It's definitely more interesting to play as the killer, for sure. But I think once you sort of... Oh, sorry.
No, I think as well with the killer that I've kind of found interesting was that you can play it on a bit more of a psychological level, because if you hook someone onto what is it? It's just a hook on a tree, isn't it? If you manage to do that, they do get a window where they can try and escape. But if they can't, they will get possibly an intervention from one of their teammates. So I suppose if you're the killer, you can kind of camp to the side a little bit and hope, just wait for that guy to come along and help his friend out, and then bang, you can try and take out two birds with one stone, as it were. So it does create a little bit of maybe strategy. I'm not sure if it's very deep, but there's some level there that you can play with.
But I think that's where you can almost game the system. So if you get put on a hook, you go into like escape state, and you've got 3 escape attempts, and there's a 4% chance, the manual instructions tell you, that you will escape. There's nothing you can do about it. You've just got a 4% chance, and you've got 3 attempts. You could not use any of those attempts, because if you do, you stay on the hook until the timer counts down, basically. Then you move into the next state. Whereas if you use all 3, you go straight into the next state. The next state is this big, the entity comes up with all these little spikes, who looks a bit like the Darkness from the games, the Darkness games.
Yeah.
And he tries to stab you, and you can just hammer X basically to try and hold it off, and again the little bar depletes. And if someone escapes, the next time you put them back on the hook, they carry on exactly from where they left off in terms of that state. So as a survivor, you're probably better off not taking your 4% chances, even though you've got 4% chances, just waiting and hope someone comes and saves you, really. But as the killer, I just found it's most effective to wait by the hooks, because no one's going to get there if you're standing right by the hook. And immediately they can hear the heartbeats when you get close, like the heartbeat faster, that lets you know the killer's close. But even if they run up, generally, if you're right by the people on the hook, you can just hit them, and then they're stuffed, basically. And even though you're losing time, it takes them so long to get the generators, you're better off losing a generator and taking a player out of the game, because it makes it a lot easier towards the end, where you've got 4 people who admittedly are weaker, but running around, you just have no chance, especially if they're coordinated.
Yeah, I think the main thing I took from it, or the feeling I got, is when I was watching you play and another friend as well, is there was that constant, I think I want to be playing Friday the 13th, or there was always that comparing the two. And this is a game that none of us have played. We haven't played Friday the 13th. I mean, if we can get some codes, we would absolutely love to dive in and check that one out. But it's as you said, do you think it's just come out at the wrong time, and it's been overshadowed by this big franchise game that did very well on Kickstarter, so it already has that invested fan base?
It definitely loses something. From what I've seen of Friday the 13th, there's more variety of things that you can do, both as Jason and as the survivors. Whereas on this, you're basically, survivors always just repair generators, do 5, and then open a door, and then you're done. Always that. Whereas you've got a few different varieties of killers, but I would have gone for like werewolf man, a vampire, a mummy, generic classic like monster type things. Whereas they've gone for the trapper, who is like a guy that wears weird dungarees with a mask who puts down bear traps. A guy that can turn invisible. When he's invisible, he moves really fast and he's undetectable. Then he bangs a bell when he becomes visible. But I mean, that seemed to be the one that everybody was playing with. There's like one they call the Hag, and I think it was that one. She can basically do a teleport. So if you are chasing someone, you can teleport 20 meters, which is quite far in the game, and then do a lethal hit and down them in one.
So you have to wonder if that's the pros and cons of that, because you've got Friday the 13th, which just relies on the one antagonist. This one, on the one hand, you can look at it and think, well, okay, they've done a good job of mixing it up and giving you villains with different abilities. But if one of those is clearly overpowered or has more enticing gameplay mechanics that prevent you from wanting to check out the other ones, then why not just stick with that guy? What's the point? It sounds like maybe the balancing is a little off, or it's just that those abilities for other characters aren't as interesting. But it does sound like the one that was being favored just had like everything at his disposal, and there was no real incentive to want to experiment with other characters.
Yeah, you just want more to do in the game as well. It feels like a really good prototype or concept for that style of game that has not yet had all the bits added in that flesh it out to a full game.
Yeah. There were only really 2 games that would have made me consider picking up an Xbox.
It's one Crackdown.
One of them was Crackdown. So let's talk about Crackdown. Now, Crackdown 3, man, what did you think about that, Mark, when you saw the trailer? With Terry Crews clearly having a blast in the trailer, but did it show enough for you?
It didn't really, did it? It didn't really show much at all. So I guess we'll find out later when they show us more.
Well, I think the most worrying thing about that was that people were saying afterwards, where is all this promised destruction that they were showing last year? Where is all of this? And let's use dynamic again, because they kind of like to use that word. Where were the building destruction? There were little bits. It didn't look that impressive when buildings were crumbling. But for people wanting the good old classic Crackdown 1 gameplay, perhaps it's going to deliver on that front.
If they've got lots of orbs to find on top of towers, I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've got no reason to believe that they don't have that. But is this going to be a case of a Peter Molyneux situation where they promised that it was going to be able to do a hell of a lot more than they're actually going to be able to deliver?
Well, they've said that the destruction isn't in the single player, but in the multiplayer you can destroy literally everything. So I don't know. I don't think it's clear how those two things are separate yet.
Oh, so I don't hate the idea of that. I think if that's because they clearly have a defined narrative, if there's a clear story and there's a reason for that, then I suppose fair enough. Because if you're playing the game and you destroy the whole city and that squanders your chances of progressing in the game, I don't know. There must be a reason for that. I don't know how I feel about that. I like the co-op mode where you could play all of the campaign, all the story missions in the original Crackdown.
That might still be in. They might still have a co-op.
So you think that this might possibly go by way of GTA or something, where you'll just have a completely different set of missions, perhaps?
I think it'll be a different world or a slightly different map for multiplayer. Because the thing is, you can't have agility orbs and then you knock down the building and then you're stuffed, aren't you? If your orbs at the top of the building.
Yeah.
So I guess they've got to try and have you not break the game. But I mean, I thought it looked almost exactly the same as the old Crackdowns. I mean, even nothing about that visually I thought looks great. It just looked, gameplay wise very similar. Graphics probably passable. I mean, early days, and they didn't show enough of a lot of things really. They showed probably more of Terry Crews than they did of the actual game.
Yeah.
You can play as sorry.
I was just saying, maybe the graphics aren't much better. Maybe they've got like the view joy distance stuff like that is much improved.
Yeah, could well be. It's hard to see from what they showed because it was so short. But I mean, they've confirmed that you can play as Terry Crews. So I suppose that's something. I thought they missed a bit of a trick there because Terry Crews was doing his like over the top Terry Crews thing, but he's like a born again gamer. Do you know about him and his gaming history?
I've seen him build a gaming PC or something.
Exactly. So basically, his son's really big into gaming, and he wanted to bond with his son. So he learned about how to build a PC and built a monster gaming PC so he could play with his son, and has got into gaming that way.
That's cool.
Which I thought was really nice, actually, and almost it would have been a nice little story to have somebody, have him come out and maybe talk a bit about that and go, okay, and Crackdown's got this co-op mode, and me and my son are going to play it, and I don't know, because I think some of the other ones that had, there's some genuine nice moments, like the Ubisoft one springs to mind. There's quite a few bits in that which genuinely look like these guys had just given, really into it, had given their all into these games, and really, really excited by it. And why not have Terry Crews show some of that side of him?
Terry Crews is just very good at what he does, and he can shout very well. So
Well,
just shout more, Terry Crews. Naughty Dog released footage for Uncharted, The Lost Legacy DLC, which I'm not sure anyone was expecting, were they?
So, well, it's come out now, so it's going to be a standalone game, although it's not going to be a full price game. But basically, they were saying that they've put so much into it, and they fleshed it out more, that it shouldn't just be a DLC experience. And they've tried to make more of it, which I think is good if you like Uncharted. I mean, I think it is looking really good. It's a different take from the Uncharted games, but still, maintaining that feel. So I think that's really good. And they also said that the reason they didn't show Last of Us 2 is that they've got literally everybody in their studio now working on Uncharted, and that's their priority, and they didn't want to take away from that, which I kind of get, because you're doing a non-Drake Uncharted. You don't want it to be a Halo ODST. You want it to be a proper good hit.
I suppose with that though, they're clearly confident in that in the Lost Legacy, and by the same token, you had Sony also revealing footage for Horizon Zero Dawn, the Frozen Wilds DLC, which is going to come out in December, I think. And similarly, it sounds like it's going to be a lot, bang for buck. So they do while a couple of their offerings were DLC pieces, I think it's enough to cause for celebration. And I think if you go back to, especially these are two franchises that have very female focused. Sorry, I say franchises, but certainly this DLC for Uncharted, there's a lot of focus on female characters, and to be Naughty Dog are very good at writing those characters. I recently finished The Last of Us, and I've had that game sitting on the hard drive for a long time, and I only finished it last week. And again, really great storytelling. So I've no reason to believe that the Uncharted DLC will be any worse off for that. So I do think they're doing a really good job of creating these strong characters. And yeah, if it's got a good few hours gameplay in there, then why not? With Shadow of the Colossus, while I played Eco, I never played Shadow of the Colossus, but I know of its reputation, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they can improve upon that. If it is flawed, if it needs to be improved upon, that one I'm really, really going to keep a close eye on. Mark.
Oh yeah, sorry. to be honest, when they announced it, I sort of groaned just because it's a remake of a remake. But it's really good. It's easily my favourite of those three. Like Ico, Shadow of Colossus, and the other one. It's easily my favourite by quite a way. So yeah, really like it. Similar to you, I didn't really like the last guy. Well, I think the puzzles and how the game's made is really good. It's a really good game, but there's just too many things that annoying in it, like the bird catch not doing what you wanted it to do, like you said, camera and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a case of it's frustrating because it's kind of sad to look at like a beloved studio like that and just know that game has the kind of issues it does. But that was plagued for years. That was in some sort of a development purgatory for a long time, and something happened that they couldn't quite recover from it. I appreciate some of its ambition and whatnot, but if ever they went back to the drawing board on that, I don't think they ever will. But I'd be open to it.
Yeah, I actually think the game design's really good. I actually think all the puzzles. The cat thing just not doing what if it just did what it was supposed to do. I think I would have loved that game, but because it just does whatever it wants and occasionally does what it's supposed to do, it put me off quite a lot.
That sounds a little bit like my cat.
That's cats in general.
Yeah. If your cat had to do a co-op game with you, do you think it would go very well, Matt? That's basically
I think it will go terribly. Apart from like maybe 5%, which would do exactly what I wanted it to do.
Yeah, that's basically.
So do you think they marketed the game wrong then? If they'd have said, "Have you always wanted to play a game with your cat?" then it's like an awesome game, right?
Yeah, some people really enjoyed it. So.
It sits there and it just, you want to get up on a ledge and it decides it wants to lick its balls instead.
Or you're just about to fight the final boss and then it stops to be sick in a corner.
It refuses to do anything until you've fed it a barrel. Yeah.
That's a great cat name, actually. Last Guardian. Brilliant. The Ubisoft guy was on stage, and then Miyamoto came out, and he had a really, really awkward conversation, but it was lovely. And and they showed Mario XCOM.
Essentially, yeah. And it's coming out a lot sooner than I think we were expecting. It's going to be the end of August.
Yeah, been in development for 3 years, they said, or something.
Yeah.
They did so well to keep that quiet.
Yeah.
To the degree that they've had. And then they showed the bloke who was responsible for doing it all in the crowd, and he had a little tear in his eye, bless him.
Yeah.
Oh, it was nice, I thought. I thought it looked really... I thought the game looked excellent. It's really different. It's nice to see them doing something different with Mario as well, rather than like another Mario Tennis or Golf or...
Look cool, yeah.
You know, yeah.
And it's very merchandise friendly as well. You can see that they're going to try and keep that around for a while. But yeah, I'm definitely going to... I think I was on the fence when I first saw it because I typically don't play these type of games. I wasn't really sure what it was, but like you said, it's XCOM. I'm willing to give it a go because it looks really cute, and I'm continually just impressed by what kind of graphics that this little Switch puts out, because they presented some consistently gorgeous looking games. Along with Rabbids, they showed us more of Mario Odyssey, and we had a lot more hands-on time with that one. There's a lot of if you care to look on YouTube post the conference, there's a lot of gameplay being bandied about, and yeah, that's looking really good as well. That's looking very reminiscent of Mario 64, just in terms of how they presented the animations there, and the open world nature of it looks really exciting. And it's been getting some criticism. Some people are wondering what the hell Mario's up to, and he's a bit of a weird one.
I don't think you can read too much into that, really. I mean, if anybody's getting concerned now about Mario being a bit weird, my only slight thing I didn't like about that Mario Odyssey thing was that it seems to start with Bowser kidnapping Peach again. And I just think at this point you sort of go, we probably should get you some sort of protection detail. You've got all those little toads running around. Why is she allowed out on her own?
I thought she would. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I thought she was in your playable party. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about something else. Ignore me.
No, yeah, wrong game.
I thought Odyssey looked awesome.
She's in your party, and then she gets kidnapped in Odyssey. They're canon.
He should have turned it on his head then, and he should have kidnapped Mario for a change.
I thought Odyssey looked awesome. Yeah.
Oh, they could kidnap Mario, and Luigi has to come and save him. And Mario's got like the escape plans for the prison tattooed on his body.
Oh.
Well, that's next E3 sorted. Mario and Luigi Prison Break.
Well, why can't they give us the villains? I want a Waluigi game. Just Waluigi.
Do you? Does anybody?
Yeah, he's the best one, isn't he?
Is he though?
Yeah.
I've got a friend who looks just like Waluigi.
We'll get him on the next show.
Lightning moustache. Whatever.
Doesn't have. If he had a tash, he would be, and if he was Italian. Is Waluigi a plumber as well? That's the thing, though, right? If you had an issue with your pipes, you call out Mario and Luigi. I don't think they're going to do a good job. I think they're just going to arse about, and like Mario will try and climb down it. Luigi will be high on shrooms. Or do you call Wario and Waluigi, who I suspect would probably do a good job, but I think they'd be expensive.
They're evil, though, aren't they? Aren't they evil?
I just think they'll overcharge you.
Okay.
You never see them messing around with pipes and stuff. They're just trying to. I don't know what's so evil about them. The moustache is upside down. They've got some bad facial hair.
To be honest, I'm confused with the whole Mario world because I don't even know what half the characters in that franchise are. And that's who playing Mario Kart. Who's Rosalina? What's she
she's
all about?
in Mario Galaxy. Have you not played Mario Galaxy?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, I like her in Mario Kart though. Some really good.
Is she Peach with brown hair?
She's blonde.
Oh, is she? Oh, not bad.
But
Maybe she's dyed it.
No, there's another. Oh, there's like. Yeah, Mario Kart's full of like some odd little characters. Most of which I know, but there's some like the baby ones. There's like stupid baby characters and.
Yeah, I don't like that. Baby Mario. Yeah.
Who wants to play that? Who was going to race? Who wants to play those characters? Baby Mario, and there was a baby flipping. Well, all of them essentially. I think they could have. That game had room for more characters than they ended up giving us. They could have done away with some.
I think like you obviously got the Rabbids that are coming into the Mario universe now. Does this mean that Sonic's out? They've got rid of Sonic because it used to be Mario and Sonic. He used to do all this stuff together, didn't they?
Well, you say used to. I think didn't they only get together for the Olympics?
Oh no, I'm sure they did the Winter Olympics as well.
Did they do a racer as well? I don't know.
Which I suppose is still the Olympics.
I don't know.
I thought Mario and Sonic had done loads of stuff together. They've done loads of Olympic games. They go to every Olympics together, don't they?
But again, what good is Mario at an Olympics event?
Oh, he gets smashed by Sonic, surely.
No question.
Jumping on things.
Well, yeah, he'd be good at the high jump.
Sonic does that as well, I guess, doesn't he?
Would he be good at the high jump though? Because he's fairly short. I mean,
he does jump pretty high in the game.
He's got experience.
I suppose he does. Yeah. I just imagine like the end credits of Mario and Rabbids has got like Sonic just sitting in the back drinking out of a brown paper bag, waiting for the next Olympics so he gets some time to shine. Or the next one is Mario and Rabbids do the Olympics. Boom. Sonic's gone. I think they should do Sonic bare knuckle fighting. You got a character called Knuckles.
Knuckles, yeah. I was just thinking.
Okay.
There's no point overstaying our welcome. We've done that before. So,
and we'll probably do it again.
We will. If you could think of anything catchy, short and sweet.
Okay.
Matt came up with a suggestion that's a bit Always Sunny, but we'll
What is it?
Spat Matt Kev.